Did you know there's a list of 30 needs that every married woman carries inside her, and that she will probably never tell you about? Not because she doesn't want to, but because she doesn't even know how to put it into words. And today, I'm going to do what no woman does. I'm going to open that closed book for you, page by page, no holding back. Stay here because what I'm about to show you in the next few minutes can completely change the way you relate to the woman you love. And if you've been married for years, this might be exactly what's been missing without you even knowing it. Before we start, answer me something in the comments right now. Has your wife ever gone cold, distant, with no explanation, and you had no idea why? Right? Been there or never understood it? Because the answer to that silence is in this video. But first, I need to make a confession. I've listened to hundreds of women, in sessions, in conversations, in late-night breakdowns, and one thing they keep saying stopped me cold. I love my husband, but I feel invisible. Invisible. Think about that word. The man is right there, physically present, working, providing, and she feels invisible. How is that even possible? It's possible because there are needs that go far beyond what the eyes can see. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today, one by one, across all 30 items on this list. And I'll tell you right now, when you get to number 28, you're going to understand why I said it might be silently destroying your marriage at this very moment, without you even noticing. If this is already making sense to you, hit the like button right now, because that tells me I should keep bringing videos like this one. And subscribe if you haven't done that yet, because what's coming next is going to be even more powerful. The first need is to be truly seen, and it goes beyond any physical compliment. Every married woman has a deep need to be noticed. The new detail in her hair, the effort she put into her outfit, the different sparkle in her eyes when she's excited about something. It's not vanity. It's about feeling that the man beside her still sees her as a living woman, not just a life companion on autopilot. When you start looking without actually seeing, she starts wondering if she still matters. And that question, left unanswered, opens a silent distance that grows a little more every single day. The second one is going to surprise you. She needs you to listen without fixing. I know that sounds counterintuitive, because you were built to be the problem solver, the man who acts, who handles things, and that's a beautiful thing. But when she comes to tell you about a hard day, about a friend who hurt her, about the stress she's carrying, most of the time she doesn't want a solution. She wants to be heard. She wants you to look at her and say, "That sounds really hard, babe. Tell me more." That's it. When you jump straight to giving answers, she feels like you want to close the subject, not understand her. Remember that. The third one, and pay attention because this is more common than it seems. She needs to feel like she matters more than your routine. Over the years, marriage starts turning into a schedule. Work, bills, kids, same weekend as the one before. And she slowly disappears inside that routine without anyone noticing. A small and unexpected gesture. I was thinking about you today. A pause in the chaos just to ask how she's really doing. That costs nothing and means everything. The question you need to ask yourself is, when was the last time you did something just for her? For no special reason at all? Tell me in the comments. Do you have the habit of surprising your wife with small things? Or has routine taken over? Right, I do that. Or, I need to work on this. I want to know where you stand. The fourth need is emotional security. And I need to be very direct here. She's not talking about a bank account. She's talking about being able to fall apart around you without being afraid of being judged. To cry without hearing, "Stop being dramatic." To admit she's scared without hearing, "You always overreact." When she doesn't have that safety, she stops being vulnerable with you. And when she stops being vulnerable, she stops truly connecting. And when the connection disappears, the relationship goes with it. The fifth one needs to be said clearly because a lot of people confuse it. She wants to be desired, not just loved. She feels the love, but desire, that fire of you wanting her, that look that says, "You affect me," that desire needs to be fed intentionally. A touch with intention, a word in her ear, a moment where you stop everything you're doing just to look at her the way you did in the beginning. That reignites something that routine quietly puts out. And trust me, she notices every time that fire gets smaller. The sixth is about partnership, not about the provider role. She doesn't want a man who handles everything alone. She wants a partner who shares life with her, who asks for her opinion, who makes her feel like you're on the same team. When you make decisions alone, when you don't include her in the plans, when you solve everything without consulting her, she doesn't feel protected. She feels excluded. And exclusion inside a marriage is loneliness with a ring on your finger. Now I need to stop here because we've reached number 7, and this is one of the 3 most important on the entire list. She needs to feel like a priority, not an option. Over time, many men without realizing it start placing their wives at the bottom of the list. Work comes first, football, friends, the phone, and her, she gets what's left over. She'll rarely complain out loud, but inside she's keeping score every single time she was pushed aside. And one day, she stops waiting. She doesn't necessarily leave, but something inside her does. And getting that back is so much harder than never losing it in the first place. If you've made it this far, you've already proven you're different from most men. But don't stop now, because from need number 8 forward, we're going into the points that very few people talk about, and that are exactly what separates men who have extraordinary relationships from those who just have average ones. Stay here. The 8th need is admiration for inner strength, not for the title, not for the salary, but for who you are as a man. And she also needs you to admire who she is, not just what she does. Not just the dedicated mother or the present wife, but the woman with dreams, with fears, with opinions. When you admire that out loud, when you say, "I really admire the way you handle that," you build a bond that no amount of money can buy. The 9th one will save you years of misunderstanding. She needs intimacy outside the bedroom, affection with no sexual agenda. This is one of the most delicate points because so many married women say that the only time their husband is affectionate is when he wants something. And when that becomes the pattern, what should feel intimate starts to feel transactional. A hand on her back for no reason, a long hug with no rush, a kiss that doesn't lead anywhere, that tells her, "I want all of you, not just parts of you." The 10th need is consistency, and that is more powerful than any grand gesture. She doesn't want a prince who shows up once a month with flowers and disappears for the other 29 days. She wants a man who is the same today and tomorrow, at home and in public, in the good times and the hard ones. Consistency is the foundation of trust, and without trust, everything you build on top of it will crack with time. Are you enjoying this content? Hit the like button right now. It helps me keep bringing videos that actually make a difference. And write in the comments which of these first 10 surprised you the most. I read every single one. The 11th. She loves being surprised, and it doesn't have to cost anything. A text in the middle of the afternoon saying you were thinking about her. Coffee in bed on a Sunday for no reason. An unexpected outing on a regular weekday. What that small gesture communicates is enormous. You're on my mind even when life is crazy. And to her, that means more than any last-minute anniversary gift. The 12th is about space to be imperfect. She needs an emotional home where she can be tired, confused, without answers, without being afraid of losing your admiration. When she feels like she has to be strong all the time around you, like she can't show weakness, she burns out. And an exhausting relationship is a relationship with an expiration date. Accepting her imperfection without criticism, without sarcasm, that creates a rare and deep bond. The 13th, she needs a voice in the decisions. I'm not saying you should give up leadership. Leadership is attractive and she admires it. I'm talking about including her, asking, considering, saying, "What do you think?" and actually waiting for the answer. When you make decisions that affect both of your lives without consulting her, she doesn't feel protected. She feels invisible inside her own life. The 14th is one a lot of people overlook, emotional protection. You protect her from physical danger, of course, but what about when someone makes a bad joke at her expense? When family says something that hurts her? When she's dismissed in a group of friends? She needs to know you'll be on her side. Not later, not in private, right then. Defending her when she's not in the room counts too. What you say about her when she's not there says everything about the respect you have for her. The 15th is about lightness, and this is urgent in long-term relationships. Over the years, couples stop playing together, stop laughing together, stop being light with each other, and the relationship turns into a joint life management operation. She needs the man who makes her laugh out loud, who invents something silly in the middle of a hard week, who makes the routine feel less heavy. If you've become the serious man of the house who only shows up to solve problems, it's time to bring back the side of you she once fell in love with. Now tell me something. When was the last time the two of you really laughed together? Write in the comments, "It's been a while," or "Just this week." I want to understand what the energy is like in your relationship right now. The 16th is going to change the way you compliment her from now on. There's a massive difference between "You look beautiful," and "The way you light up a room when you walk in completely takes my breath away." The second compliment tells her you actually observe her, that you go beyond the obvious. Specificity in a compliment is proof that you pay attention, and to her, attention is love. We've reached the 17th, and this is the second of the 3 I promised to highlight. She needs you to acknowledge the invisible effort. You know everything that runs smoothly in your home without you having to think about it. The clothes in the right place, the food, the kids, the little details that just happen. There's someone managing all of that in silence. She doesn't want a trophy. She wants you to notice and say, "I see how hard you work. Thank you." 3 words. I see you. Try doing that this week and tell me what happens. The 18th is about intellectual connection, and it's deeper than it sounds. She wants to have a real conversation with you, about the world, about dreams, about what you want to build, about what's really going on in each other's lives. When you stop being interesting to her mentally, she doesn't stop loving you, but she starts looking for that stimulation somewhere else, in girlfriends, in courses, in other conversations, and when the mental connection goes, emotional distance follows quietly right behind it. The 19th, initiative without being asked. When she has to ask for everything, the affection, the attention, the help, the gesture, she wears down. And beyond the exhaustion, she starts to feel like a mother inside the marriage, not a wife. And when she takes on that role, desire disappears naturally. A man who takes initiative, who hugs without being asked, who handles things without being nagged, who shows up without being called. That man is magnetic inside a relationship. The 20th need is seeing that you're growing too. She needs a partner who evolves alongside her, who has goals, who has a hunger for life, who inspires her. A stagnant man, one who's in the exact same place he was 3 years ago, not pursuing anything new, gradually loses the ability to fascinate the woman beside him. It doesn't have to be a revolution. It can be a book, a course, a new goal, but she needs to see that you're moving too. Let's keep going, and I'll tell you right now that number 28 is coming, and it might be the most impactful one in this entire video. Don't go anywhere. The 21st is one of the most emotionally powerful. She needs to feel like you would choose her again. Over the years, a question starts forming inside her, silent, never spoken out loud. If he met me today, from scratch, would he still choose me? Tell her that, in different ways, at different moments, with words and with actions that show the choice was made and keeps being made every single day. The 22nd needs to be said clearly, because a lot of people confuse physical presence with real presence. Being in the same room staring at your phone is not presence. She needs you truly present. Mind, attention, energy directed at her. 15 minutes of real presence, where you are completely there, are worth more than hours of being together while you're mentally somewhere else. The 23rd, being defended. In the family, in social circles, at work, when someone disrespects or diminishes her, she needs to know you'll be on her side. Right then, with firmness and with respect. That's not jealousy, that's loyalty. And loyalty is one of the most powerful forms of love a man can show. The 24th is one of the most underrated by men. She needs to be touched with tenderness outside of a sexual context. A hand on her back as you walk past her in the kitchen. A long hug with no rush, holding her hand while you walk. That kind of touch tells her you want her beyond the physical, that you take pleasure in simply being close to her. And when that no-agenda touch disappears from a relationship, she starts to miss something she can't quite name. But I'm naming it for you right now. The 25th is about caring about what she cares about. You don't have to like the same things she likes. You don't have to understand everything she does. But you have to care about the fact that it matters to her. Ask about her project. Listen about her friend. Participate even without fully understanding. That gesture says, "What moves you, moves me too." And that creates an intimacy that goes beyond anything physical. The 26th is about emotional stability. And I'll be direct. A man with unpredictable moods creates an anxious woman. When she doesn't know which version of you she's going to come home to at the end of the day, she starts walking on eggshells inside her own house. She stops being spontaneous, stops being light, stops being herself. Being the man who keeps the emotional temperature of the home steady, even on hard days, is one of the greatest gifts you can give your relationship. The 27th, being remembered in the details. She mentioned once that she loves a certain flower, that she has a specific fear, that she dreams of a place she's never been. Remembering those details months later and acting on them, that's what makes her feel like you truly know her. Not on the surface, but on the inside. And being truly known is one of the most intimate things that exists. And we've arrived at the 28th. The third one on this list I promised would hit you hard. She needs you to see her as a woman, not just as the mother of your children or as your life partner. Over time, without anyone noticing, husbands start seeing their wives only in that functional role, and she feels it. She knows the exact moment when the way you looked at her as a man shifted into the way you look at her as a co-parent. When you stop seeing her as a woman, with femininity, with sensuality, with mystery, something inside her goes dark. Reigniting that fire requires you to consciously go back to looking at her with the eyes of a man who still chooses her, still wants her, still sees her. We're almost at the end, and if you've made it this far, do me a favor. Hit the like button right now. Not for me, to make sure this content reaches more men who need to see it. Share it with a friend who's in a relationship. He'll thank you for it. The 29th is about a shared future. She needs to know you have a somewhere to go together. Dreams in common, plans the two of you built, a direction you both chose. When she doesn't feel like she's part of the future you're building, when the plans are yours, not yours together, she starts to feel like a guest in her own life. Ask her today, what do you want us to build in the next few years? And actually listen. And we've reached the 30th, the last one, and the most important of all. She needs to be loved the way she needs to be loved, not just the way that's easiest for you. Every man loves. I don't question that. But there's an enormous difference between loving the way you know how and loving the way she needs to receive it. Some need words. Others need touch. Others need quality time, acts of service, presence. Discovering what her love language is, and speaking that language every single day, is what separates men who have extraordinary relationships from those who have ordinary ones. And the best news? You can learn this, at any age, at any point, because real love has no expiration date, but it does need to be nurtured. 30 needs. Most of them cost no money. They don't require superpowers. They require attention, intention, and the willingness to look at her in a new way every single day. If you made it to the end, you're already part of that 1%. Not because you're perfect, but because you chose to understand. And understanding is the first step to everything. Now I want to know, which of these 30 needs surprised you the most today? Which ones do you already do well? And which ones do you admit you need to work on? Write it in the comments. I read everything and I always respond. This space is about real exchange, and every comment helps me understand what you need to see in the next videos. Don't forget to leave a like if this made a difference for you, and share it with someone you know needs to watch this. A big kiss, and I'll see you in the next video.